Hi, I'm nervous, and today we are reacting to the Steel Wool interview that Dawko did just 3 days ago as of recording this. A couple of you were asking if I'd seen it yet, and surprise, I was waiting to record a video for it so that we could all talk about our feelings together. This is probably going to be the last, if not one of the last things we hear from Steel Wool themselves before the whole game comes out. And they may cover this in the interview, but if they don't, we'll also be taking a look at Steel Wool's tweets because there have been some images surfacing there that are worth taking a look at and discussing here today. Now, I'd love to jump right into this, but first, I need a friend. I know my cats do sometimes hang out with me, but we all know they're pretty finicky, and you and I are doing our best to interact with each other, but I do film these videos alone. So luckily you can be sent a friend these days. It's a special delivery. I was sent a friend by Send a Friend, the company. This is not a sponsored video, but they sent me this for free and I thought how fun would it be to unbox it with you guys, see who our little friend is, and they could watch Dawko's interview with us together. So if you don't know, Send a Friend is a company that will send stuffed animals to somebody you care about just to let them know you're thinking about them, to celebrate a special occasion or something like that. So I'm just gonna open this up, we'll see who our little friend is, and then they will accompany us while we watch Dawko's interview. Okay, I ripped it a little bit because I didn't realize that they taped the packaging to the top of the box so that you can like reveal who your little friend is. So undo my mistakes. Oh my gosh! We got a little bat. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Okay, he's so soft. Binks the bat. It's giving huggable. Okay, and now Toast wants to play. She thinks this is for her now. Now, the little brochure they send you also has some information about the mission of Send a Friend, which is why I'm opening Binks the Bat on camera in the first place. Like I said, this is not a sponsored video, but there will be an affiliate link for you to buy your own Send a Friend and send it to someone you care about. Or, I mean, like, get it for yourself, do whatever you want to do. But the reason that I love this company so much is because they donate a portion of every purchase to a nonprofit organization. And it lets you know on the brochure that since 2018, they've donated over $1.5 million to nonprofit organizations across the United States. So that's great. And obviously, again, they didn't sponsor me to do this, but I really did want to talk about them because I think that's really sweet. And also, I mean, this guy is so cute. You know I love a stuffed animal, and Binks is going to be a part of the collection, and I think it would be great if he joined us for this video. So, okay, thank you for letting me do all of that, and I'm going to now set our little friend here, and we're gonna watch this. Okay. One last disclaimer, I'm probably going to be skipping sections of this video, only talking about the things that I actually have something to say about, so please still go to Dawko's channel to watch the entire interview, obviously, you guys know. Okay. We're getting into the video now, I promise.
Hey guys, it's Dawko. I have a very, very special video for you today. I am so honoured to be interviewing Steel Wool Studios again. This time, I've got Evan with me, and we're going to be talking about Secret of the Mimic. Well, Evan, thank you so much for coming on for
thanks
this.
for having me.
Yeah,
great to see you.
Just want to ask, how's it going? Like, how's everything going so far with Secret of the Mimic? And just
question one: how's everything going? How was your family? Have you eaten any good food lately?
Oh, it's going really great. You know, things are getting all crazy, close to launch. You know, we're in the home stretch. Everyone's working super hard. The team is working incredibly hard to polish things up, and we've been doing play testing and stuff. And Trey, you know, the regular sauce, he's been doing his tests, and it's so much fun to watch. He's having such a great time. He's about halfway through the game, and he already says it's his favorite Steel Wool game ever. So that makes
that's exciting. I was going to say, I wanted to pause just to say, I am glad it seems like they are not going to be releasing the VR version on release. They're prioritizing the flat version, which I think is the smarter thing to do, because for so many people, the VR games aren't accessible to them. And so they miss that first person actual play experience. And that can be a deal breaker for a lot of people. I'm grateful that they went that direction. That being said, I did buy a whole VR setup thinking that this was going to be a VR game. And now, I mean, eventually we'll get there, but it won't be the first way that I experience it, which maybe is a good thing. Maybe it's a good thing. We'll find out. As long as it's better than the flat mode of Help Wanted 2, then we're going to be okay. But if it's like that, I'm going to lose it. But that's why I think that it's good that they're prioritizing it, because I'm way more comfortable with the idea that they're probably not going to muck it up. So we'll see.
That makes me feel very happy. But what's funny is he hasn't even gotten to the coolest parts yet. You know, don't tell him though. I want him to be a surprise.
Oh, that is so
Don't
exciting.
tell him, though.
I love the regular source.
I
And
think you might watch this.
like developing this game, like branching out to something completely different that we haven't really seen in FNAF before, like the prequel to everything that we know so far and stuff.
Yeah, you know, I don't want to like spoil anything.
Yeah.
But it has been
who
really
cares?
interesting to, you know, explore this new setting and in the 70s time period, you know, these new characters.
Confirmed. So that confirms that the game is going to be in the 70s. So if you were taking bets on whether or not the Secret of the Mimic was actually going to be set in the 70s, now you know your answer. I did have that spoiled for me. That's the only thing that I knew going into this. I don't want to lie and act like I'm reacting to that for the first time, but I was wondering how direct they were going to be about it. That's pretty direct. So that's fine. I did end up going back, and if you saw my first video about the Secret of the Mimic post-trailer, you saw me kind of saying, like, there's no way that this video game is going to take place in the 70s. This is ridiculous. And then I thought about it more, and I heard a lot of people's feedback in the comments and came around to the idea of, like, okay, it's actually probably pretty plausible, if not likely, that that's going to happen. So I've adjusted my expectations. I've kind of theorized a little bit more, thought about it a little bit more, and you can hear about those thoughts here. So I hope they're able to do a good job with it. I'll leave those thoughts to that video, but just briefly, I still think that it's wild that we're now saying that the Mimic existed before the first Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. Maybe not Fredbear's, but definitely the first FNAF pizzeria. It predates that. And look, here's the thing. I am trying and mostly succeeding in having a faith in Steel Wool. I think there's just a part of me that's less worried about the story not being good and more worried about me just not liking it, which is just a possibility, and it has nothing to do with them. So that's what I'm worried about, is that I'm not going to like the direction that they're going, and that has nothing to do with anybody but me. You know, that's my own thing to worry about. So, but anyway, we'll get back to reacting now.
With Edwin and maybe the origins of the Mimic, right?
Maybe.
You know, it's great.
It better be the origins of the Mimic.
To explore a side of the FNAF universe that nobody's ever seen before, and I think that's very exciting for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
super weird
I
that
think
we've never
loads of
seen it
people are
before.
excited as well, because I've always wanted a game like, just before everything, like before, you know, like a FNAF Origins style game.
Right.
One thing I wanted to talk about is Ruin. I know so many people had a positive reaction to Ruin and the vibes of Ruin. Do you guys think you took on those positive reactions from Ruin to put into this new game?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we've always talked about, as we're concepting this game, keeping the tone darker, more similar to Ruin. I will say there's a little bit less linear than Ruin was, but we wanted to keep a lot of the bespoke, really interesting horror elements there, right? The game is much more claustrophobic than some of the games of the past.
When I was at PAX, I played Secret of the Mimic in VR, right? But from the trailer, it looks like it's flat mode. Are you doing both VR and flat mode on launch, or
we're
have
gonna
things
find out.
changed?
Yeah, we pivoted a little bit. We're launching in flat, Steam and PS5 flat, and we're going to take the VR coming after launch sometime.
Hey, that's awesome, because
Oh man, not even like a date. Like I said, I appreciate that they are prioritizing flat mode because I want that to be a good experience. Nudge, nudge. At Help Wanted to. I'm sad that we're not going to necessarily know when that's going to come. I hope they tell us soon, rather than later.
I get to play it twice then for videos, so thanks for that.
Exactly.
Oh,
That's why
true.
we do.
Content-wise. content-wise, this is great, I suppose.
If both came out at the same time, I was like, okay, what am I going to do first? Am I going to do VR first? Am I going to do flat mode first? So yeah, that's awesome.
I didn't even think about this dilemma.
Like I can do
When
both
I
then.
would
That's
just have
amazing.
done VR first.
To be fair, I was probably going to do both anyway, but it's a bit easier now if they're releasing at separate times. So yeah, that's awesome.
So we're separating it out, and hopefully we can provide, the best possible experience for the most number of players, at launch with and then VR
Let's go,
coming
Steel
in soon
Wool.
after.
Thank you.
That's awesome. How carefully are you putting the books in consideration of Secret of the Mimic? So, Tales of the
this is
Pizza
a
Plex
great
had a lot
question.
of lore about the Mimic and Edwin. Did you take that
Oh, this is
for this
exciting.
game?
Yeah, we've actually been talking about making this game for a long time, and we were developing the game kind of while these books are coming out. So, I will say it's interesting. Again, I won't go into like the books and all of that, but it's interesting to work kind of in dual mediums.
That's awesome. I'm gonna.
Okay. I mean, you can take things and you can twist them around, I suppose, however you want them. But saying working in dual mediums, and that the fact that they were developing this at the same times that the books were being written. I mean, I'm going to just say this, and I don't mean it in a negative way, but I think people are just kind of set in their belief at this point. And I think that you're going to interpret what he said in the way that confirms your personal bias. That's how I feel about it. But
Steel Wool have gave me 2 posters to share during this interview. And I feel like now would be a nice time to do the first one. This is the first poster, and I'm going to show the second poster around the end of the interview, so you guys have to stay tuned and look out for that. So yeah, the first poster that Steel Wool sent me, thank you by the way, Steel Wool, I appreciate it. It is a poster saying locked out. Your data diver is the key. So my first theory looking at that is that data diver has a bunch of keys on the poster as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes, locked out, your data diver is the key. It does look like an early version of the Phas wrench that we see the Phas technicians using in the new Steel Wool games, Ruin particularly, and Help Wanted 2. Your data diver is the key, so we're obviously going to be, we've seen it in action in the trailer where we're going to be hooking it up to a computer and being able to access files and things like that. So that's probably how it's going to come into play. We're going to plug it into a computer and we'll have access to security stuff and be able to lock and unlock different doors, maybe even locking the mimic on the other side of something so that it can't get to us. I also see that there are other keys on here, and one of them is like an old, interesting, like looking key. Like the other ones look pretty standard as keys go, but that one right behind the data diver is really ancient looking. But this key in particular just looks older and like antique in a way, and I'm curious about that one about as much as I am the data diver. But yeah, we saw that in the trailer. I don't know exactly how revolutionary it is that we see it here, but maybe there's some hidden lore locked in those computers as well, and it's also being like locked out of the story. But the fact that it's called the data diver does make me think that it's going to be relevant to the lore. It's going to be kind of our key to the lore, so to speak.
I'm guessing it's basically might be a mechanic where you can use the data diver to unlock doors and explore and stuff like that.
You're not far off. I
Okay.
think, yeah, absolutely. And it obviously has a more than a passing resemblance to the Phas wrench.
Hey,
Yes.
called it.
Not unintentional, yeah.
Yes, I feel like people
crazy
picked
if
up
it
on
was
that as well
unintentional.
on the trailer and stuff too, that it's very similar to that. So that's interesting. I love that. So yeah, you did say previously as well that it's less linear than Ruin.
Right.
So are we going to go? I'm guessing that's more exploration in the factory
And I
and stuff.
like that. There's
Absolutely.
probably going to
we
be like
talked about
hidden
this
lore
game. We
that
talked about it.
if you don't go off the beaten path, you won't find it. You can see on the Steam page where it says you'll be collecting blueprints from the factory. So that may be part of what's non-linear about it, is you won't get those blueprints unless you maybe accomplished a set of goals, or if you happen to go off the beaten path and look in a particular place, maybe there's clues, riddles, something that leads you to those pieces of information. I don't know, just a thought.
In layers, and that applies to both the narrative and the gameplay. There is a we call it the golden path, right?
Hold on.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. When we talk about this game, we talk about it in layers, and that applies to both the narrative and the gameplay.
That makes me think we are going to be exploring partially some version of the AR worlds in this game. I mean, we know Mixus is related to this in some capacity. So when you say like in layers, I immediately think of like FNAF World and the layers involved in that gameplay, and Princess Quest and the layers involved, where you are connected to the physical world within the game somehow. Like these two things seem to be able to interact with each other. So I really like the idea. I would love it if they would explore the origins of why the 8-bit mini games and things like that seem to be the ghosts communicating with us. That would be really fantastic, but we'll see. But I like that. I really like that.
There is a we call it the golden path, right? It's the main line that you would go to complete the game. You can follow that path.
Yeah.
But you don't have to. There's other things to do. There's other stuff to find. I'm really curious to see what people are able to find and how quickly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is
that
super
makes me so
exciting.
excited because I love stuff like that, because if you explore different places, you find things that might lead to a different ending and stuff. So I'll shut up now, but I'm so excited.
I appreciate Dawko's everlasting enthusiasm for FNAF, because I am a cynical, pessimistic kind of gal sometimes. So I appreciate someone like Dawko who can just bring me back into the joy and wonder of FNAF and not take any of it too very seriously.
When this game comes out, I hope you guys get to see my reaction to stuff like that. I'm going to go insane.
I love watching the reaction videos. I watch all the streams. Yeah, it's the best.
How much creative input did you guys have with the story? Was Scott involved or at all, like helping with the story?
This is important.
Building it together?
The best way to describe it is that we are creative collaborators, but Scott is always kind of the prime mover, right? He sits at the head of the pyramid. We've worked with him for
Don't call it that.
Many years now, so I think we've built enough trust that he allows us to make a lot of the on-the-ground decisions as long as we're following his overarching direction.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, I mean, I hope to goodness that Scott has learned his lesson with not trusting Steel Wool, because Security Breach was not what he ended up wanting anyway, because he didn't trust them with the information. And so hopefully he's learned his lesson in that vein. And so moving forward with this story, we're not going to have those out-of-pocket things that Scott wasn't expecting Steel Wool to do and then didn't have time to fix it.
How is Scott feeling about this game? Is he excited?
Ooh.
Is he hyped up for it?
I think it's fair to say that, yes, everyone who sees this game is very excited.
Oh, that's so exciting. Oh my
agree.
God. A lot of people have noticed new characters, new suits and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think we're even in the books, the Tale of the Pizzaplex books. So what was it like just having that freedom to do your own things and
music is really good.
creativity? Probably mostly for the first time, like making your own designs of costumes and stuff.
Good question.
Right. Yeah, it's funny, right? Because this game takes place in a costume workshop. So you would imagine there's more than a few interesting costumes going on here. Scott really early on sent us key art that he had worked on with his artists that sort of showcased these like creepy hallways and stuff. And he said, this is kind of the tone that I want from this game. And in that key art were certain characters like the Mushroom and the Jester and stuff. And we were like,
So in the key art that Scott Cawthon sent to Steel Wool, the two characters that he's calling out right now are the two characters from Tales from the Pizzaplex? The Jester and the Mushroom? Okay. Good to know.
Okay, first of all, first things first, we're building these characters. So we basically took almost all of those characters and put them into 3D, built them all out. And then we said, okay, well, that's some, we need more. So how are we gonna, we gotta flesh
Fleshing it
out this
out.
roster here. And then we started pulling inspiration from, other FNAF games and where we wanted the story to go and what sorts of things we were trying to say with the characters. And, this isn't a Fazbear.
Because they're probably talking about the mediocre
facility,
melodies.
right? So this is, some of it can be connected and some of it's not, right? So yeah, we started building these character roster out that, in a way that was starting from Scott's concepts and trying to be in that same world. Gives us a great kickoff point from what kind of world he wants us to be building.
Did you, any games that Scott's made or you guys have made in the past, take any inspiration for the development of this?
Correct, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we look at all of the FNAF games. I mean, we are, at this point, we are FNAF experts, right? That's what we're paid to do. So yeah, we research very deeply into every FNAF game and look for any shreds of reference we can pull and connections we can make, because we really want this to be a contiguous part of the entire
FNAF world,
right? We don't want it to live on its own as this weird side thing. There's these certain themes that start reemerging. Right? I call it thematic repetition. They say what's the saying? History doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. It's sort of like that, right? These ideas that aren't necessarily direct one-to-ones, but there are these churning, narrative motifs that come around again.
Yes.
I think we see a lot of that, and having that emerge as a prequel is a really interesting dynamic, right? Because what does it say about, right, this the sequel influences the prequel?
Yes.
Right?
I think that if he's not getting at this, it sounds like, I love that he said that, because it genuinely sounds like he is kind of confirming what we've been talking about in the theorist community. I want to say it really started with FNAF, but I don't watch everybody, so I can't know who the literal first person who kind of suggested this may have been. But I know even game theory for a long time has looked to the Silver Eyes trilogy for those thematic narrative connections that can be made between those books and the games. I just love the way that Evan is calling out the churning, right? Like the way he even visualized it is so exactly how I have felt about the way they are incorporating old stories into the new games. Not by telling those literal stories, obviously we're not getting a Charlie bot and things like that, but the narrative themes of that story, things that carry through the franchise. And I don't know, I really appreciate that. They are clearly taking influence from that. And I think it's I mean, I don't know, it's just nice to hear him kind of say it. Not literally, but kind of say it.
How long has this been in development then? Like you said that you were working on the game early on when the books were being made and stuff. So how long has it been?
I think we first started talking about it kind of early 2022. We're talking about it while Ruin is being worked on. Eventually Help Wanted 2 is being worked on. And we didn't get full active development until after Help Wanted 2. So it's been about a year and a half of all hands on deck, full studio active development.
Like you said, the game's been in development for about a year and a half, right? How big is the game?
Yeah. Okay, so it's funny. It's so hilarious. We wanted to make a claustrophobic game. We were like, okay, let's make narrow hallways, small spaces, and originally being concepted, as a VR experience.
Right.
Things in VR feel a lot bigger than they are in flat, right? And so early on we said, okay, well, how big is this map compared to Security Breach? And we overlaid them, and the entire footprint of the facility could fit into Roxy Raceway.
Oh,
which
wow.
I thought was hilarious.
Whoa, so it's not a very big map.
But I think for us, it was all about density of design, right?
Yeah.
And there's multiple stories and secret passageways hidden false walls and stuff like that. So,
clock it, false walls, okay? Clock it. That's something to look for. He's just giving us hints. Thank you, Evan. Now we know what to look for.
So the Mimic is from the books. just how
Pretty
accurate
directly.
or true are you guys going to be sticking to the mimic, or have you like?
Good question, Dawko.
Again, this might be no. I feel like they might be spoilery, but like, have you got?
Spoilers,
No.
Yeah, like,
No.
have you changed? Yeah.
Answer the question, Evan. Don't be a
if you read
coward.
the books, you don't know the full story.
Okay, that's perfect. It seems like you guys, I know you guys are doing something like Edwin's Factory's separate, right? But it feels like you also still trying to connect it with the FNAF universe at the same time.
I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't go into too much detail. Of
It's
course.
so hard.
But I will say this game was made for FNAF fans.
Yeah.
Okay. This game was made for FNAF fans. Sorry, toast. Girl. I don't know. That's so interesting. So Evan is saying even if you've read the books, you don't know the full story. And I think that's very fair. I think that's... What are you doing? So Evan is saying if we've read the books, we don't know the whole story. And I think that's so fair because honestly, even if they were doing one-to-one, which I think there are details that make it objectively impossible for it to be a literal one-to-one, even if they are telling the same story, right? Even if they are telling the same story with adjusted environments to more appropriately fit into a game and potentially just the overall story that exists outside of the mimic within the games of FNAF. I don't know how confusing that was to say, but nobody ever called FNAF simple, so I'm just saying even if they were telling as close to the Tales from the Pizzaplex story as possible, Tales from the Pizzaplex doesn't tell us everything. Tales from the Pizzaplex leaves a lot of gaps, a lot of timeline gaps, and a lot of story beat gaps. There are things we don't quite know or understand about Edwin, about the Mimic. There are still secrets to be told. So I think that's very fair to say.
And there is a lot of connection if you want to look for it.
Do you know like
a lot of
an average
connection if you
projected
want to look
length
for
on
it?
how long the game's going to be?
Yeah, we've been doing the regular Sauce's playthrough, and he's 6 hours in. I'd say he's about halfway through just the main line of the game.
Wow.
Which I would say he won't even discover half the game at that point. So, yeah, we're looking at maybe like 8 to 10 hours for a single playthrough, and then
Wow.
and that's just like I said, like baseline. You could probably
So it's
go
gonna
15
take
to
me
20
4
hours
days.
if you want to be a completionist about it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Difficulty-wise, is this game challenging at all?
Say no,
is there
say
some
it's
hard
easy.
moments that's probably going to make me cry on camera?
On camera.
So yeah, we talked about layers.
Yes.
So there's like the top layer. You can stay at the top if you want, and the game is moderately challenging. It's what we would expect, like someone who's maybe never played a FNAF game before.
Yeah.
They come in, they
Valid.
play the game, and they have a good time, and they beat the game.
Secrets are
they
gonna
get the
be hard to
credits and
get.
Good job. But again, that's only the top layer.
Mm-hmm.
And as you go deeper, we're gonna start, maybe asking for a little bit more effort. I don't think it'll be like
way you said that
UCN
like
or
a
anything,
teacher.
Oh,
but,
50-20 mode. Okay.
No. But definitely there's some more challenge that you
Harder.
can go.
Fair
So
enough.
yeah, like you said, like there's like a top layer.
Wouldn't
so
want
do
it
you
any
think
other
this is easily accessible for new FNAF fans who haven't played a FNAF game before,
Or just
can
people who
dive
are
in?
bad
Yeah.
at games.
Yeah, that's the goal, right? And from a narrative way as well, right? We want to, we tell a story that everyone can understand, even if they've never played a FNAF game before. It's a game that everyone can enjoy, right at the top, but that's just this thin veneer at the top. And then very
Wow.
quickly, you start moving into deeper secrets and deeper connections and, harder gameplay and, that sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exciting. From the
Oh, I'm just like, what do we have to do? I feel like we may, in order to get these secrets, I wonder if we have to like aggravate the mimic, or the closer we get to the secrets, if the mimic just becomes more aggro because it doesn't want us there, or if Mixus comes into play somehow and that makes it harder. That's so interesting. I'm just wondering because like obviously there can be puzzles and things like that that are more challenging, but because this is a game that seems to be about evading the mimic, I'm wondering if going deeper causes the mimic to like ramp up in difficulty, specific like as a reaction to you going places you're not supposed to be.
Taylor, we see, like I've mentioned before, new characters and stuff. Are there any that haven't been shown yet?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, thanks.
There's a lot, you know.
That's
Oh my
exciting.
gosh. Huge shout out, by the way, to our characters team. When I pitched them what this game was going to be, their eyes like, oh, are you kidding me? Like, oh no.
Wow.
There's
Characters we
too many
haven't seen
characters.
yet.
It's like, no, we can do this.
I
believe-
wonder if we're gonna get a hippo. I really hope we do. Oh man.
Because this game's set in the 70s, right? Did you guys have any other influences that inspired this game at all? Like movies or other games?
So obviously, FNAF games are like the biggest influence.
Okay, yes.
But outside of the FNAF games, I really was pulling a lot from Alien Isolation early on. I think that was a really great point of reference for us, especially because, I mean, Alien being kind of like a retro futurism of the 70s anyway, it has some interesting aesthetic tie-ins as well as the gameplay stuff, right? And then outside of games, I would look at like environments and tones of like 70s and 80s horror movies, like The Shining or like Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I literally should have just guessed The Shining because of the carpet from the teaser trailer.
For the content, but for like, the aesthetics and the, right? And then also, I think the biggest one, though, outside of all of that, are these like practical VFX workshops, like Jim Henson, or like Tippett Studios, right? These practical effects shops. And if you've ever been in one of those, it's wild. You walk down these hallways, and it's like there's like stories just in piles, and it's just spilling into their work. And they're like a hoarder. These guys, they make paths around their like movie props, and they're constantly, it's just so much creativity spilling out of every corner.
We're gonna find some secret stories
the
in
VFX
piles,
guys
I
in
would
those
say.
shops work next to the practical VFX guys, so they're on their computers, but they're getting like splatters from the paint and stuff, and it's just such a really cool gritty environment, and we really wanted to pull from that. So a while back we did some work with Tippett, and we went there, it was many years ago, and there's the guys that did the Jurassic Park practical VFX and stuff. So it was really great seeing that. Those were, I'd say, our biggest real world inspirations.
That is so cool. So yeah, like in the factory, like from some of the screenshots that we got of some of the rooms in the trailer, like shelving units with just a bunch of random different props and stuff everywhere. Has it been a challenge? Have you had some like challenges that you've had to face, or has it been just a breeze basically?
I would say this game has gone a lot more smoothly than maybe you would expect. I think this was one of our better productions as far as that goes. That's
actually really good news.
I think the team is absolutely amazing. They are really pushing the boundaries of what we as a studio are capable of. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm biased, but I think this game is some of the best work this studio's ever made.
Oh, I'm so excited. Next poster that Steel Wool sent me. Again, thank you so much. Yeah, this one made me theorize a bit more. So the poster says, where do you belong? Basic, security, repair, creator, admin, executive. Your data diver knows, and at the top right, it's MCM. I'm guessing is that Murray's costume manor?
I think, yeah, that is
okay.
He said, I think, like, just tell us. So interesting. Okay, before Dawko talks more about it, let's go back and see the full thing. Okay, so the data diver, like I said, it is going to be very integral. It's going to be very important to the lore. This makes it abundantly clear. Where do you belong? Your data diver knows. I think that's got a double meaning. Obviously, it's going to tell us probably map kind of information. Where do you need to go to do the next thing that you're going to do? But if we look, okay, so we've seen executive. We've seen that symbol in the Help Wanted to update. to tease Secret of the Mimic, we saw that. So while it may come as no surprise, it's interesting, at least, that the symbol we saw at Edwin Murray's mailbox is this executive symbol, making it very, very clear that it is his company. Now, Murray's Costume Manor already kind of tells us that much, but I think it's interesting that we're seeing this symbol doesn't just exist inside of the data diver. It's stuff we're going to be seeing elsewhere. So I think it would be interesting if we started to see these other symbols associated with a specific person or something. I don't know. I think it would be interesting. I think we'll probably be looking for these symbols in the real world too around us. And I wonder if they all are going to have specific people attached to them. I don't know. It would just be something. I think there's a lot of directions they could go with this that would be really interesting. Creator. That one really, that for some reason that one just stands out to me as very interesting. But anyway.
The symbol that made me think the most is the executive symbol.
Okay, he's gonna call.
If this is the if the data diver has these different, different symbols give us access to different areas?
Oh, okay.
That would be that'd be one thought. Yeah.
I just want to theorize with you, even though this is the problem.
let's think about this together.
Yeah, because the problem is, right, I can theorize loads, right, but you know the answers. That's the problem.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm cheating.
It's very exciting. It really
It'll
is.
be interesting
Do
if
you
the data
guys
diver
have
has a
anything
symbol
cool
on it itself
planned before the release of the game?
Yeah, so after the interview launches, be sure to stay tuned to our socials, and maybe we'll tease something out.
Yeah, that's awesome. Can't wait for that. Get everybody hyped up for the release. It's coming up it's came around so quickly. It literally feels like last week I was at PAX playing the game in VR.
Yeah, the day I'm filming this, it's literally a month away.
Development with games go. Like, Security Breach was like, what, 4 years ago when it released? It's weird. Any final thoughts that you want to give out to the fans watching?
Yeah, I just want to quickly, Dawko, say thank you. Thank you to you. Thank you to everyone who ends up watching this. We love making FNAF games, and we couldn't do it without the incredible support of the community. Like I said before, we make games for the fans, and that's like a responsibility. I know everyone loves this franchise so much, and that's a responsibility that we take really seriously. So to see the community reaction to the demo and the trailers and all the fan art that's been being made, it just means a lot. So yeah, thank you.
It's going to be so exciting. I'm sure everybody's going to love it. Okay, Evan, so from this interview, you answered the question so passionately. Where did that passion of game development come from? Have you got any I'd love to learn more about you.
I'm an artist, and games in general I think are the ultimate art form. It has the aesthetics and the narrative. I started my career in animation, and so being able to tell stories is something that I love, and I think games do it better than anybody else.
Wow.
That being said,
so immersive.
The FNAF community is why I love making FNAF games. Truly. We've worked on a couple different IPs in the past, and the communities there are fine, but nothing compared to FNAF fans.
Nobody is as lucrative as the FNAF fans. We are rolling in it, brother.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Evan. Thank you guys so much. Thanks for watching.
All right. So let's ruminate on what we just watched. Hello, Toasty. Welcome back.
One cat-induced technical difficulty later.
All right, now that I have seen the entire interview, I just want to take some time to collect my thoughts and speak about how this has affected my excitement levels for the upcoming game. I will say right off the bat that this has sort of increased my confidence levels with how good the game is going to be just as an experience. Taking away the FNAF part of it, is it going to be a good horror game? Is it going to be scary and challenging but not too hard to the point where I never get through it? I'm pretty confident in that. Now, I will say I am worried about how hard it's going to be to get all the secrets. I do not mince my words when I talk about not being the most proficient gamer on the planet. It's very hard for me to especially play through a game that's constantly scaring me and sending me backwards and backwards and backwards. In contrast, Amanda the Adventurer 2, I struggled a lot with the puzzles, and there were still some secrets I couldn't get, even without the sort of threat of something scaring me and sending me back to the beginning. I'm worried about how much I'm going to be able to discover on my playthrough. And the reason that I'm so worried about that is not necessarily because I think you'd have to be really good at gaming to enjoy the game. It's clear that this is going to be a fun experience regardless of whether you're a more proficient or more of a basic kind of gal. But I want to talk about this game, and so there's going to come a point where I'm going to have to go, I can't do this. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully I can figure it all out and get through it all and gain enough skill to where I'm not struggling like that. But the possibility is there that I simply won't be able to fully finish this game, and I won't be able to give myself as much time as it will take to discover all the secrets on my own. So fingers crossed that somehow, some way, I am blessed by the gaming gods and just become incredibly goated and am able to figure it out. But I'm really excited about what the gameplay seems like it is going to be. I'm really excited that it is going to be a more exploratory game than Ruin was, because as fun as I think Ruin was, I think that having, and even Help Wanted 2 is a very pretty linear game. You can kind of choose the order you complete those mini games in, but there's, at a certain point, it's like, well, this is what you do. And so the fact that this game is going to have different tracks you can play down and get different endings, I think that's really cool and potentially unique for a FNAF game. We've had multiple endings to FNAF games before, but I kind of think that the way that they're describing this is, just stick with me, but it does kind of feel like a FNAF world thing where you could start the whole game over, play it a different way, going down those layers, if you know what I'm saying. So you heard it here first, folks. Secret of the Mimic is FNAF World 2. And that's my stance, and I'm sticking by it. I think Evan was really well spoken about how they are taking inspiration from the past stories of Five Nights at Freddy's to tell this new story. And a lot of things that we had already picked up on, I do like having that confirmed, those thematic things that just keep coming back in Five Nights at Freddy's. I will say, I really am starting to get the vibes that I may be right about the fact that William discovers this mimic and what it's capable of. And that is what sets him down the track of everything that comes afterwards in the FNAF universe. And I really think if it does, it opens up a world where the Death Order could truly be anything. We look at the years and things like that, and I don't want to take away from the different years that seem established when things happened, but one thing that has always kind of been hard for me, not the 1983 for Charlie's death, but the 1983 for the crying child's death, because, and correct me in the comments if I'm wrong about this, but as far as I can remember it off the top of my head, based on what I know about Five Nights at Freddy's and the different games, is that the reason we say 1983 for the crying child specifically is because there is a TV show on in the living room of the FNAF 4 cutscenes that says Fredbear and Friends 1983. Knowing that Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria is the restaurant that opens in 1983, I don't think that date being on the TV show says what year it currently is. It's saying that that's the year that TV show started, or the year those commercials started running, whatever's going on in those moments. I think that's really what it's saying, is that that's when those shows started being made. That doesn't mean that game doesn't take place in 1983. It still can, but I think it opens up a world if William Afton knows about agony, possession, things like that with the Mimic as early as 1979. Those other dates can be different. Honestly, I don't have as much to say as I thought that I might. This was a pretty tame interview as far as reveal things go, which is fair, the game is coming out in less than a month as of this video going up for you guys to see. This was a lot more interesting to hear about the development of the game and things like that, but I think it's really clear that there's a lot of connections to Tales from the Pizzaplex and that it is very much an adaptation of that story made within the games. The way that he said working in dual mediums makes me think that it was like, okay, we're developing these stories at the same time. They are going to be connected to one another, but perhaps one is not as faithful as a telling as the other one. We'll see exactly when everything comes out. And ultimately, I am really excited. They are really doing a good job hyping me up for the game. So the last thing that we're going to look at today is actually the tweet that Steel Wool Studios put out after this interview. Just like Evan said there, he was like, keep an eye on the page because we're going to be posting stuff. So that has been posted. So we're going to take a look at that. And then I think that will be the end of the video. So I'm going to go open that up for you guys. They posted this. It says, have you ordered Five Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic yet? Don't worry about filling in the body type. Murray's Costume Manor will take care of that for you. And it says Murray's Costume Manor. If I click on this, I'll make it easier for you guys to see. Yes. So we can see where it says Murray's Costume Manor. This order form is your receipt. It guarantees that the costumes specified below are being manufactured for you. Present this order form to the front desk 3 months after your initial order date to receive your costumes. So we have the order form, the date, the pickup date, the purchaser's names, body type, quantity, requested materials, requested details, and special functions, 2 times original fee. Special functions. And then it's down here. It's just a copyright notice. It doesn't look like there's anything lore related in there. So this is cool. I think there's probably a chance that we're going to see order forms, maybe one specifically from Fazbear Entertainment, maybe even specifically from like William Afton or something like that. I think that would be really neat, but I think the special functions feature is going to maybe come into play there. Yeah, I think it would be really interesting if we saw an order form having been filled out by maybe Henry, maybe William, maybe Fazbear Entertainment in general. However they decide to do it, I think it would be really, really cool if we kind of see that as one of the first threads kind of combining the stories of Edwin and the Fazbear Entertainment crew. At this point, I think it's fairly clear that the story we're going to be getting in Secret of the Mimic is going to tell us how Edwin came in contact with Fazbear Entertainment. We'll see exactly how close they are keeping to the Tales from the Pizzaplex stories. I find it really fascinating hearing about Scott Cawthon putting the Mushroom and the Jester, the 2 iconic Mimic costumes, in my opinion at least, from Tales from the Pizzaplex, putting those costumes in the concept art, being like, this is what I want for the game. I think that's a really good indicator that and they're saying like, well, you don't know half of the story, right? If you've just read the books. Valid. I think that the books don't tell us everything. There are giant time gaps and things like that, like I mentioned earlier. You can read into that however you want to, but I do think it's interesting that Scott Cawthon's saying, like, my vision for this game includes these costumes from the books. I think that's important. Again, I'm not saying that we're in a lace factory. We're very clearly in a costume manor. So we're taking a different direction, to be sure, but is interesting nonetheless. At the end of the day, it's still interesting. Breaking news. Steel Wool just uploaded another little video teasing something. I'm not sure yet because I'm going to react to it now, but I am using this sunscreen for my car to hide the fact that I'm at work right now. But I have to react to this. I have just enough time to react and throw it into the video. So just bear with me. So this is called MCM Archive Stay Up Latte. Oh my gosh, there's already stuff to look at. It says picture alert. Okay, no, picture start. MCM Universal Leader. Splice here. MCM Film Archives. E. Murray 4111007.
You look terrible. I'm exhausted. So much to do by morning. I'll never be ready for my big presentation. All I want to do is sleep.
All I want to do is sleep. There's like something going on in the background.
Sleep. Why sleep when you can stay up latte? Stay up late? No, latte. It's new. For Murray. Try it. Oh, distinctive taste. Rich and roasted, yet creamy and sweet. Give me more. That's Murray's secret recipe.
Oh, it's his coffee machine.
The Stay Up Latte creates the perfect cup of coffee suited to you, based on your coffee habits.
Oh, that is funky. And you can see the executive symbol we saw from Murray's manor and on the data diver. So that's interesting.
That's Murray's secret recipe. The Stay Up Latte creates the perfect cup of coffee suited to you, based on your coffee habits.
I know what you want better than you do.
I know what you want better than you do.
Your coffee habits.
I know what you want better than you do. I am always watching and learning. How another come, how another come, how another come, how another.
Morning. Did you stay up all night? No, I stayed up latte. After 2 full pots, I'm ready to work. Promotion, here I come! That's the Murray difference.
That's the Murray difference. Okay, the only other thing I really want to look at is near the beginning. It seems like something's... Near the beginning, it seems like there's something in the background. Okay, I went back and watched it again, and for as far as I can tell, it looks like it's like an office cubicle of some kind. But overall, that was freaky. It seems like they were drawing comparisons between the copy machine and the mimic. And it seems like the coffee machine, the latte machine, is an invention of Edwin Murray, and it like learns how to make your coffee perfect for you. Interesting stuff. So I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments, and we could like discuss this further. It's a really interesting video, and I probably one of the more twisted, very inspired by the analog horror genre things that Steel Wool has put out. So love it. It's reminding me of Security Breach teasers and all that stuff. So we'll see if there's more like this down the pipeline, if more people are able to find little secrets hidden in the video. But for now, back to your regularly scheduled programming. I would love to hear your thoughts about the interview as well, so we can keep this conversation going in the comments below. I am genuinely incredibly excited for this. I'm going to be playing it day one. I'm taking off for work that day. We are going to be locked in, and I'm going to do everything in my power to get us as many secrets as possible in our playthroughs. But for what it's worth, I just want to be honest and say that there's a high likelihood that that will not happen. But I'm asking for all of the good feelings and positive energy in the comments below and in chat on the day. Just please send all of the I don't know, gaming prowess to my body. Please help me. I don't know what I need to do to train for this. I guess play maybe some Alien. Maybe I need to play some Alien Isolation to get myself into the right mindset to play this game, but I'm gonna do my best. And with that, remember, if you want to check out the link in the description to send a friend to somebody who might need one, including yourself, seeing more about their mission and the different nonprofits that they have been able to help with their stuffed animals. And outside of that, I just would love it if you like the video to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already to become a part of the Nervous System. I upload videos every week and go live on Wednesdays and Fridays usually, but if you can't wait, there are videos on the screen right now just for you. Okay, bye! I wanted to wait so that I could cover it for a video because I thought, what a better way to kind of not have to script a video, frankly.